What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rumpier Sports Hardwood Show. We got some Wednesday night NBA action. Smaller slate, 6 games, but we're back to break it all down. And, Titletown did so well yesterday. I mean, just phenomenal calls. I mean, just such a great flow on the show. Had to bring him back. And he gets to celebrate the Bucks' 80-point victory last night, which crushed all our freaking lineups because they were so damn good and couldn't miss. Title man, your team. We called it. We said, they're going to have a nice bounce back performance. I don't think even any of us thought it was going to be that big of a bounce back performance.
No, I mean, that was insane. They could not miss. And the thing is, though, I care more about money than my Bucks. And unfortunately, I had Giannis as my guy, and he's the one Buck that didn't get there since everyone else made threes. So other than that, it was a good day. We had Drew Holiday went off. We talked about him. Big T had Jokic. Bagley did all right as a good pivot off of Reed. Satoransky stuffed the stat sheet. Even little Nerlens Noel at 1%, which people were giving us crap for. But, yeah, it was a good day. So decided to hop back on and talk some hoops with you. It was fun.
Yeah, got to go back to back. I mean, the calls were good yesterday. I mean, we picked apart some of those spots pretty well. And today, I mean, going to be an opportunity to do the same. Tony, I mean, your workbench play of the day got it done for us.
Who was it?
Jokic.
Oh yeah, I mean Jokic, man. So we got
a little assistance with the injury news. The workbench play got a little assistance with the news, but it's okay.
I was on with those bets guys earlier during the show, and they keep posting Jokic's assist lines at 7.5, 8. Yeah. It's not high enough. Just bet the over every time. The dude is going to average double-digit assists easy. He might average a triple-double easy. I just bet it every time. The triple-double is good odds. The over on assist is good odds. He's an absolute monster.
Well, I mean, it's the situation they're in is just it's better. I mean, you don't have a guy he's not playing a ton out there with Barton, so you don't got to worry about him, handling the ball and trying to score all the time. It's just a perfect fit with MPJ out there. Murray, yeah, he's a point guard, but he doesn't demand the ball. He's not a guy that's dribbling. When he gets the ball, he's looking to score. So I mean, it's a perfect spot for him to rack up these big assist numbers. And I know everyone's getting all excited about the MVP stuff, and people are posting their bets. And yeah, I get it, but man, it is so early, so early. I agree. I think he's gonna have a monster
you
season.
Got to get him in early to get that price then.
Yeah, I get. But I mean, people are talking like it's a stone lock that he's winning the MVP.
I mean, he's 25-1.
I think it's a great price. I agree with you. I think it's a great price, but people are talking like he's won the MVP. We're 3 games. I mean, most of these teams are 3 or 4 games in. It's a little premature for me, but I get it. In terms of making the bet, yeah, great time to get in there, make a bet on Jokic to win it. But the people talking like he's got this thing wrapped up, a little bit too early for me.
He's just, I mean, he's a monster. It's fun he's just the funnest to watch too, because that second half the other night, the dude ended up with 70-something fantasy points, and he didn't make a shot he didn't even shoot the ball, I don't think, in the second half, and completely dominated the game without shooting. That's what I'm going to do to Titletown on the court. I'm just going to own him. It's going to look smooth. It's how we do things.
Don't ever compare yourself to Jokic. You're more of a Zaza.
That's what my game's like. Nice, slow, ugly.
Who are you gonna pass it to? Pass it to yourself off the backboard?
Throw it to myself off the backboard and embarrass him.
Title's too athletic. He's a young buck. Tony, you got to realize, man, you and I are on the wrong side of 30. Title's how old are you? 22, 23?
With that much hair on his head.
22. It's just like Steph against Zaza Pachulia. I mean,
he's gonna clean that. He's gonna clean that up too. Before he already said he's going cornrows to own you. So I mean,
oh yeah, it's not getting in my eyes. I'm gonna see you every shot that I make in your face. It's gonna be good.
If not, I'll get that headband on too. I bet. Yeah, you wear a headband, right? If you play.
Oh yeah, I have to too. So it's gonna be headband
versus headband. Like it. Can't wait to see that. All right, guys. As always, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us continue to do these shows for free. As always, we'll give out some gear. We had that was so fun yesterday. This idiot Bob. I hope Bob's back, by the way, just to prove his loyalty. He was in there trashing the team here. So we ran a little thing.
I think we buried him. I don't think he's ever returning.
So just to own Bob, the thing to get gear is the best comment. I'm sure most of you guys were watching yesterday. Best comment bearing Bob got the gear, and we had there's some good ones there. It was hard to stay focused at the end of that show yesterday because chat, you guys came in strong. So maybe if we get another moron here in the chat, we can do the same thing today. But hit the like, hit the subscribe. Got a nice number. We're at 3. After the first game, I'll see where we're at, and we'll pick a number in terms of likes to give out a piece of gear to send Tony to FedEx. I mean, Tony's on top of it too. Like, you win gear, he's going to that FedEx store tonight and getting that shipped out. Next day air. You'll have it by tomorrow morning, right, Tony?
Yep.
Right?
You say that, and then they believe you, though.
Well, I got in trouble yesterday. They weren't happy because I said the same thing 2 shows in a row where I said, give Tony a little time. He goes once every 3-4 weeks. I think, is this going to be a regular bit on the show? So I went the opposite, put some pressure on you to get this gear shipped out. Yeah, 6 games, so we'll be able to get through them pretty easily. Title, like, what's your initial thoughts on this slate without going too deep? Anything stand out right out of the gate? I mean, we have some injury news that we're going to be waiting on. The biggest is probably Jason Tatum. He's questionable. We have Lamarcus Aldridge. He is also questionable, and Kawhi Leonard is questionable. So a lot of news that we still need. If you built your teams yesterday waiting on news, you probably benefited because you would have got on guys like Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. We're going to see a lot of that this season. But Title, your first thoughts of this slate here.
Yeah, my first thoughts are, I mean, it's tough to do anything right now with injury news because you mentioned those, and LeBron's questionable too. He has his birthday narrative, so I do find it a little tough to see him sitting. But I mean, he's questionable. So yesterday I was wrong with Kawhi. I mean, I said don't listen to me for sure, but my guess was Kawhi was going to play. I was wrong. So don't listen to what I have to say about that. We have to wait for coach's news. But so much injury news. At least we're going to get Tatum and that news before lock. And yeah, that's the biggest news on the slate for sure, because if he's out, Jaylen Brown becomes pretty much a stone cold lock. Marcus Smart. Now they got Pritchard in the mix, who's going to get a boost. Like, there's just so much stuff going around. So that's the biggest news of the slate is all these injuries, and it's important to monitor it. But we'll break it all down.
Yep, for sure. Tony, what's your kind of first thoughts and how are you handling this news? Like I said yesterday, we had kind of talked about it, and there was some big news we were waiting for it, at those late games. And there was the difference between yesterday and today. We had 3 games, so if the news didn't fall our way, we could have pivoted elsewhere. Tonight, there's only 1 late game, but we should get a majority of this news early. How are you kind of handling this news situation and your overall thoughts on this slate?
Yeah, I'm still tilted from yesterday because we kind of talked about the late news. I kind of threw out there that I thought Jamal might sit, but I didn't fully go into it. I didn't fully think about it and invest in it. If you could have somehow been sitting on a bunch of late open spots, I had one FanDuel team that I had a bunch of spots. I was able to pivot to Monte Morris and stuff like that. If you're playing multiple teams now with the COVID stuff, like, there's value in just backloading, even if you like the early plays, just to see what happens, just to be different in tournaments. Again, not in cash games, but maybe it just gets you a completely different build. And yeah, some nights you might end up in trouble because early guys crush. But other nights, who knows? Maybe there's a blowout. Maybe, who knows, someone gets hurt. Some chalk guy doesn't get there. Like, tons of things can happen. Get you a different build, and I like that. And again tonight, there's going to be news every single night this whole season. You got to be in the Discord over at Run Pure. You just got to use all the information at hand.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it yesterday. I mean, there's going to be news. There's going to be surprise stuff basically every single slate. I mean, unless we're talking like a 2-3 game slate, maybe we feel good. But anything 4, 5, 6, 7, the 10 game slate yesterday, there's going to be surprises. And we did talk about Jamal Murray. I mean, he left the game for a little bit the night before with, I believe it was the ankle injury or whatever. I don't even know what sort of injury, but he came back in, he played, and back to back, they decided to sit him. And, these are the sort of things you need to be not necessarily planning for, but keeping in the back of your head when you're building teams. But with that, we'll hop into the first game here, and it's a good one. I mean, the Hawks, the Nets, the total 239, 240 range. The Nets favored by 6, and man, if this game stays close, there is going to be a lot of points scored on both sides. The Hawks have been a tough team though from a DFS perspective because they're deep now, and last season that wasn't the case. If they were playing in a competitive, high-scoring game, Trae Young, John Collins, we're going to probably do it all. This year they have other guys, and I mean, the one that seems to be taking the biggest hit so far is John Collins. The price has finally come down quite a bit. Let's just start with this Hawks situation here. Title, I'll throw it to you first. Like I said, like last year, they're in competitive high-scoring games. It was Trae Young, John Collins, and it might not be the case this season. Yeah, Trae Young's going to have some monster games, and he has so far this season. But John Collins appears to be the one that might be losing out with all these bodies. How are you handling him and the Hawks today?
Yeah, so that's, you notice the same thing we're all noticing. John Collins, it sucks because, yeah, he was always a smash, but now with Capella, I think he's the main reason that's really hurting it. Capella's eating more of the rebounds. John Collins is a lot better play at the 5 when they play smaller. He's involved more in the pick and roll with Trae Young and got more lobs. Now he's losing out on the points. And he's also, I will say, though, he was in foul trouble last game, too, which limited some
two games so far that he's been in foul trouble. So
yeah, so we can't always expect that to stay the same. So I don't think he's going to be as bad as what he's shown to start the year, but his ceiling definitely is more limited than it has been, but his price at least shows for it. So he's still in play on both sites. FanDuel, I like him more because he's 6,800 and power forward isn't great. But it's a little scary. In tournaments, I'm probably going to be underweight or not have as much because I am scared about his ceiling, but this is definitely the best game environment for sure. And if there's a lot of running up and down the court, these are the games John Collins does flourish in. So it's an interesting spot. If he doesn't smash today, I probably won't be going back to him for a while.
Yeah, I agree. On FanDuel, yeah, power forward is pretty tough, and his price is under 7K now at 6.8. So maybe a little bit more in the conversation there. Quickly on the net side of things, obviously Kyrie, Durant, just huge usage and kind of hard to get behind too many Nets guys when both these dudes are playing. The prices are better on DK opposed to FanDuel. On DK, you have Kyrie at 8.9. Durant is 8.4. That's a really nice price tag for Durant over on DK. On FanDuel, they're both over 9K, still in play, but not as good as on DK. LeVert coming off that monster game. He still has a pretty good price tag on FanDuel at 6.3K. What are you doing with the Nets side of the ball here? I mean, is it more DK plays for you opposed to FanDuel because of the prices?
Yeah, so they're definitely better suited on DK. Kevin Durant just stands out as way too cheap at 8,400. I mean, this is one of the best players in the world, best scorers almost ever play, one of them. So 8,400 for a guy like that, and he got a game off, he was rested, so I don't expect his minutes to be capped or anything. Highest total on the slate, so I like them a lot. But he makes for a really good tournament play on FanDuel because no one's going to really play him. People are going to mainly pay down at small forward, and it just makes your roster different right away. So I like him over there in tournaments. Kyrie is a cash playable and tournament playable on FanDuel just because point guard's not as good as some other positions. But if you can't get Luka, I think people are going to gravitate toward Kyrie for the savings. So that's interesting as well. And no Dinwiddie now, which is really big bump for those guys, but it's the biggest bump for LeVert. And FanDuel, you mentioned, he seems too cheap at 6,300. LeVert's just a really good basketball player. I expect him to dominate the second unit because I don't think he's gonna start. So I like him more off the second unit as well. So this game's really tasty, a lot of pieces to it. And then the other guy, it's on the Hawks side, but Bogdan Bogdanović on DraftKings, he's only 4,800, and I expect them to try and focus on Trae a lot. Bogdanović has shown that he's a good player when the eyes aren't on him as much. I expect him to have a good year. He's a good three-point shooter too, so he gets the bonus. And 4,800, he has a lot of upside for that price.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in that 30-minute range, which is really good for his price tag, definitely. Tony, throw it over to you. Touch on John Collins. I mean, what's your read on that situation? Like, to me, I think this deep roster has really hurt him the most. Maybe it's just foul trouble, though. I mean, he has been in foul trouble a couple of these games, but even, when he is on the court, he's just not getting the same usage, not getting the same rebounding rate. So a little lower on Collins, and then talk about how you're going to handle these Knicks guys. Nets, sorry.
Collins, it could be a little foul trouble. It could be a little of everything where he shouldn't be priced the same as he was last year when he was 8K or in that range most of the year. That's just too high for him with his current role with Capella there. And then even with just like guys like Gallo, Bogdan, those guys, and the younger guys getting a year older too. So it's just a really deep roster. The FanDuel price is where it gets interesting at 6,800. I still don't love him though. FanDuel, I mean, obviously it's a different build than DK. So you're going to have – I mean, power forward is a disaster there, just looking at it, trying to figure out who you want to play. So he'll definitely end up popular there. And I don't hate it just because of how bad the position is, but I don't feel great about it. And the matchup's tough. You got the two bigs, obviously, from Brooklyn, but KD's super long, 7 foot, basically 7 foot. So you got three dudes that are big-time rim protectors in there. I don't love it, but I don't mind it either. I think Trae Young is going to be – pretty low owned, especially on a site like FanDuel where Kyrie is cheaper. You got some of the value guys like Drew Holiday. You got Tyus Jones, different guys like that, even Pritchard, a bunch of guys that are cheap to where hardly anyone's going to go up and play Trae and Kyrie together. That's like a tournament type thing that I like to do because you could easily see it where they start going back and forth at each other, getting a little shootout where, I mean, they're both street ball players, two of the top for sure 10 just straight hoopers in the league with KD and that same thing. So
I love doing that with point guards. Like you see it with Dame a lot. Like he'll get involved in these games where he's just going back and forth with somebody, and usually it's the point guard. So yeah, I do like that strategy in tournaments for sure.
And neither one of them, another edge too, is neither one of them is a very good defender. And I want to pick on both of these teams from the guard position more so than the bigs because Collins and Capella are decent defenders too inside to where they can at least alter some shots, stuff like that. I really want to pick on people from the outside, and I like it. I mean, I'll definitely have some looks with Trae, Kyrie, and KD, especially on DK, like Title said. I mean, 8,400 for KD is just a flat-out misprice, and I really don't know how you get away from that. Even if they blow him out, he's still going to get there in probably 3 quarters at that price point. It's just too cheap. Like Kyrie should not be 500 more than KD. It should be 9,400 instead of 8,400. So I like that. LeVert, basically what Title said. LeVert coming off the bench. He is priced 6,900 on DK. That feels a little heavy, but the total's massive. He could get significant run with these guys off the floor against Atlanta. I think he's a really good play coming off the bench too.
Yeah, and that's gonna make his ownership way down on DraftKings because people are gonna look at 6,900, and especially if Tatum's out, everyone's just gonna go to Brown and other pieces. So you'll get him really low owned over there, and he has the upside to break the slate.
Yeah, just got some big news. Lamarcus Aldridge ruled out, so that kind of changes things around a little bit. So when we get to that game, we'll break down how it affects everyone else involved. So yeah, Lamarcus Aldridge out, big news. So we got one piece there, just waiting now, kind of on Tatum and Kawhi, and then maybe LeBron. But I do think LeBron
and Josh
plays.
Richardson's in also. We just got that news too. So
yeah, he was questionable, upgraded to probable. So news is coming in, which is good. All right. Anything else in this game from anyone?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on. All right. So we're at 450. I'll be nice today. Let's just get to 200. I mean, it's very simple. 200 likes. We'll give away a piece of gear. If we can get an idiot in the chat to make some dumb comment, we can kind of do the same thing we did yesterday because that was a lot of fun, man. That Bob, man, he's not showing his face for a while. He got buried in there. That was a lot of fun. So 200 likes.
He might have been in his mom's basement right now for all we know. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yes, I agree with that. So 200, and we'll give away a piece of gear. Next game. Good one. I mean, you got the Grizzlies, we got the Celtics. The total's 217. Boston's only favored by 5 in this game. Grizzlies, obviously, without Ja Morant, that obviously changes things for them a ton. But the sites did a pretty good job of getting the prices up. So we were joking on the last show. Dylan Brooks was 3.7K on FanDuel. Well, they went ahead and about doubled his price. He's up there to 6.7K, which needed to be done. He obviously had a big game and you kind of needed him on FanDuel last time out, but he's up there at 6.7. like I said, both sites did a pretty good job of getting these guys priced up. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson, 6K. I mean, I'll retire from DFS if I ever click that name at that price tag. So he's definitely not in the conversation for me. But, guy like Tyus Jones should get a big bump. I think the price tag is reasonable for him. Like he's 5'2" on DK, 5'8" on FanDuel. I think that's probably about where he should be. I think he's a fine value option tonight. Valanciunas, I think it's a big boost here without Tristan Thompson playing. He should be able to dominate the boards here in this matchup on the Boston side. We're waiting on that Tatum news, and it's hard to really pin down what we want to do with Boston, without knowing if Tatum's playing. If Tatum's out, I mean, we're going to be loading up on Boston in tournaments and in cash games today. It's 7:30 Eastern game, so we will get this news before rosters lock. So it's important. Let's just start with the Memphis side, Tony. I'm going to throw it to you first. Like I said, the sites did a great job of getting these guys priced up without Ja. Does anyone stand out to you as a solid play here?
So I always liked Tyus Jones. I might be a sucker for him, though, because he does kind of suck at scoring the ball, but he's a good defender, good point guard. He's more of a just natural point guard type play where you're not ever going to feel good if you see him spot up from three or something because his shot is super broke. But he'll get to the hole, he'll distribute, he'll play D, he'll get steals. It's just what he does. So his price is up. I mean, he's definitely not a lock by any means, but 5,800 FanDuel, 5,200 on DK. I mean, that price is more than fair. I like it against Boston. I like it more for sure too if Tatum's out. Even though it's not the same position, it still makes the game much more manageable without Tatum in there, where this game could go back and forth with a few younger guys in the mix. I definitely like that. I mean, Grayson Allen is another guy that should theoretically get a pretty big boost with Ja out, of course. So 3,600 on DK. How much is he on FanDuel? I know he's pretty cheap on FanDuel too. You're just talking on mute like
he's 3.7, I believe, on FanDuel. He's right around the same price tag on FanDuel.
Yeah, I like him a lot. FanDuel, there is a lot of guys that are pretty cheap to where it doesn't mean as much. Like the DK pricing, he definitely fits pretty good on DK at 3,600. I like that. So this Desmond Bane dude, I don't know a ton about him, but everything I look at, he should be pretty big boost with Ja out. What do you guys, Title, what do you know about this Bane dude?
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I think there's better value, though, with like Grayson Allen or something where, I mean, he's going to be very low owned, your Bane guy, but I don't know. I can't make a case for him. I don't know enough about him. I'm scared he's going to be an Okaru or something I did a couple days ago that I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that was a rough one that Okoro. I mean, I need to look this dude up. So he's from TCU, first round pick, 30th overall. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I took a chance with our dude yesterday. All of a sudden, Muscala was 50% owned, and the starting dude was Roby or whatever his name was 4% owned, and he just smashed. So who knows? Like, we don't know these starters yet, right? Like, yeah, what if Bane is in the starting lineup? Like, he's got to at least be some interest at 3,300 on DK for sure if he's starting for me. But again, it's more of a stab because I don't know much about. I like to know a little bit about some guys. I don't know much about him, but whoever starts, I think for Memphis is definitely in play. Dylan Brooks went from like the lock city to priced where he should be. However, they do need someone to score the ball. So I don't think he's like completely out of play. I mean, look at their starting lineup. Tyus Jones can't score. Joe Val obviously can score in the post. Brandon Clark is solid, but not a huge scorer either. Dylan Brooks is going to have to score the ball. He is expensive, so definitely just a tournament play. I'm sure cash people aren't going to be on him, but don't hate it. And then I guess that's it from the Memphis side for me. Kyle Anderson, like you said, I will literally never play DFS again in my life if I play him at 6K. I don't care. Like, if he beats me, I'll just move on to tomorrow, and then I'll fade him again and fade him again. There's no way I'm playing that dude. Title could probably beat him one-on-one.
Well, I mean, I'm just not saying much. I can beat you, so we'll see. But I don't know. I don't know about. He's bad.
He's got to be the most awkward looking NBA player when he starts moving. Like, it's just, I mean, you see these dudes on the court, just such good athletes all over the place, you know, so quick, so fast. And then you see freaking Kyle Anderson out there. It's like, where did this guy freaking come from? Title, what are you doing here at the Grizzlies?
Well, so people in chat are saying about this Bane dude that he's a sniper. He can get hot, good 3-point
shooter. Oh, he's a shooter. Don't get me excited. He's a shooter.
People in chat are saying So I guess for his price, if he's coming off if he's a starter, he's automatically going to get more ownership. So as a tourney play, you kind of hope he comes off the bench. And
I hope he starts. I'm different with that kind of stuff.
Are you?
If I don't know anything about it, if I know a guy's good and can score. Like, just for example, I know it's not the same bracket, but a guy like LeVert, I know he's way better, but it's just an example. Yeah. Like, I trust his scoring off the bench. These crappy guys, if they get buried on that bench, I don't trust. Like, at least if they're a starter, you know they're going to – I don't know. I'm weird with it. I want to see the crappy guys starting.
Fair enough. Yeah, but people in chat because I don't know much about them. I mean – I watch more NBA than college, so it's cool seeing these guys come up. But people say he's a shooter, so yeah, I guess he's a look. He's really cheap, punt. I feel more comfortable with Grayson Allen. He's 3,600 on DraftKings. He's a shooter too. We know Grayson Allen. He's not the sexiest play, but he's not going to dud for you, I don't think. So I like him. Tyus Jones, you mentioned, both affordable on both sites. He stands out more on DraftKings at 5,200, but Tyus Jones, we've seen him in the past start for injuries and he produces. He doesn't only, he scores a little bit, but he's always getting assists. He plays defense like Big T says, so he gets some steals and even gets the rebounds a little bit. So he's a good player. 5,200 feels cheap. And then Valanciunas is the only one I really have some interest in as well. I like him on FanDuel a little more, 7,500, and I don't think he's going to be too popular because people are going to go other routes. Either they're going to pay down for Thies or go Nurkic or something like that. So he's affordable price tag, and I think he gets overlooked. And we've seen Valanciunas have monster games as well. So I like him in tournaments for sure.
Yeah, and then on the Celtics side, obviously it all comes down to what happens with Tatum. I think some of these guys are in play even if Tatum plays. Like I think Jaylen Brown's still a fine play. They get a little boost with Tristan Thompson out, more rebounding for these dudes. This Pritchard guy's getting a ton of run. Like I think he's in play. Tice I think is obviously in play without Tristan. He's 4K on DK. He's 3.9K on FanDuel. If Tatum's out, to me, you're going to want probably at least 3 Boston guys in your lineup. I'll throw it to you first, Title. Like, what are you doing here with Boston? Let's just say if Tatum is out.
Yeah, if Tatum's out, you're going to want a lot. That's their best player. That's a bunch of shots going. So Jaylen Brown just automatically steps into the alpha role. Marcus Smart steps in and becomes a very good play. Peyton Pritchard, 3,400. He's already getting – Brad Stevens likes him. He's already getting minutes. I watched him in college. He's a good player. So he would become pretty owned, I think, 3,400. And then Thies, too, even without Tatum, even if he's in, 3,900 on FanDuel. He's only center eligible, but he's power forward and center eligible on DraftKings at 4,002. No Tristan Thompson. He just gets a big boost. They're going to need his size against Joval. So he makes a lot of sense also. I'm trying to see maybe Grant Williams on DraftKings would be a good tournament play. Small forward, power forward, if small forward and power forward eligible. If Tatum gets out, he would get a boost in minutes, and I think he would be overlooked. But it's mainly Jaylen Brown, Smart, and Thies that really get the biggest bumps.
Yeah, Tony, what are you doing with the Celtics guys? If Tatum's out, how many Celtics are you trying to get to here?
It's a good question because it is tough on the slate because how good that Brooklyn-Atlanta game is. I don't know. I like these guys. So Thies is a perfect example of a play that the cash people always like. And I just God, he's bad. I kept trying to play him in the bubble, and he just sucked.
He's not a big T. He's a 5Xer. He's 5K in the bubble. He was getting 25 every single. And it's not 20 some games, 32 some games. He's getting 25.
He's not taking you to the workbench.
Between 20 and 25,
He's not a workbench play of the night.
No, he's like, I mean, this year, obviously Tristan's in there, but 19, 12, 15, 12, like,
yeah.
I think he gets you 20. Like I do. I think that's what he gets you. So if that's what you want, then it's 4K. So you're getting your 5X. You're moving along to the next position, which in cash games is awesome. Man, it's tough to play him. It is tough. Not like if Tatum's out and Tristan's already out, obviously, it's tough not to play him at 4K though, because you feel like he's got a little more upside. I know he's going to let me down when I end up playing him, though. Like, he's going to be on my team, and he's going to get, like, 19 fantasy points, and I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and just be disgusted at myself. Just like if Title was to somehow beat me, I'd look in that mirror and just I wouldn't be able to respect myself. I'd have to hang him up.
The way you've talked up your basketball game, if Title beats you, I mean, it's probably industry retirement for you.
First of all, Title stepped up to the plate and put some money on the table. I respect that. Hoop has talked trash for 5 years, never shows up to play. Did show up to play cornhole, got worked, and jumped in a lake.
Oh, you literally worked me in that situation. I mean, that was I got totally worked. I mean, you said that whole thing set up. I
had the whole thing set up.
Yeah, just to go back to the cornhole thing real quick. I don't want to get distracted.
I had it set up.
We have plenty of time. It's a 6. You can have your story. It's only 6 games, I mean, so we have. So we played in the same environment the entire weekend. We were practicing. Tony, I think Thursday, Friday. Okay. Let me continue. We were practicing in the exact same spot all weekend long. Yes, Tony was a little bit. He was a little bit better than me. I'll say he was a little bit better in those practice rounds. We were playing right up against the house, off the lake. Totally fine. He's like, man, and this was a quote from Tony. And if he lies about this, I'm gonna be very pissed off. Tony said, "Yeah, he's like, I will say, he's like, you are a lot better than I thought you were." Correct?
Haven't you ever heard of like stroking someone to get them a little excited?
Yeah. Okay. So guess what? So then it comes down to the day that we're going to finally play. We're out on the boat having a good time. He wants to play basically in the middle of the lake on an island. You have wind coming from all over the place. I mean, you have wind at the back, wind on the side, like hurricane type scenario out there. And this guy says, this is where we're playing. Okay. Obviously, Tony has more experience than I do in playing cornhole. I played a ton. Tony has tournament experience. I do not. He hustled me, but you know what? It's okay. In terms of the basketball stuff, I'll let Title take care of you on the court because I'm backing Title.
Uncle T agreed and said that he set you up as well, Hoop.
Yes, so Uncle T is the one. I didn't think about it until Uncle T told me. He's like, yeah, you kind of got hustled by Tony there. He knows. So.
First of all, I can't hustle you when I say I'm going to do it. I said I'm going to own you, and then I owned you. That's not hustling.
I'm just you had that environment. You knew if you got me in the elements that it was going to throw me off a little bit.
The wind did not help my game.
Oh, I mean, there was probably 20 mile an hour wind with 30 mile an hour gusts, I'd say.
It was all you said clearly the wind only affects Hoop. I agree.
Yeah.
That's right, chat.
And I agree. I said, I mean, it does only affect me because, like I said, Tony is a seasoned tournament cornhole player. I'm a recreational player. Okay, I'm a recreational cornhole player.
Just like Title's a recreational JV player. I took it up a notch or two.
Big T's out here playing in the 50 plus old men's league. Guys can't even run up and down the court. Yeah. This is going to be
same
fun.
As he keeps referencing his high school basketball career. This guy literally went to a district where there is like 20 eligible boys to play basketball. He was competing against 8th graders his senior year. I mean, it was a tough scene, but I mean, he keeps talking about it.
How do you know?
I researched the school. You keep posting. You post the news. You post the newspaper articles. I mean, the population in the area is like 500 total. That's the adults and elderly and babies. I mean, there's like 20 eligible dudes.
Better.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Tatum's in.
Tatum is in. So all that talk about Tatum being out, don't need to worry about it. He is going to play tonight. I think it was just like a thumb injury or something. So he's in. Obviously, big downgrade to all those guys, when we were just talking about Tatum being out.
That makes Tatum a really good play though now, because I mean Thompson's out, and I mean more of a tournament play, I think, because people might be scared a little bit, but he's still only 8,600 on DraftKings, and
I don't think it's that much of a reach either. Like, because KD, we talked about how much of a lock KD is. But this is a good pivot off, I think, just in case that Nets game blows out, like we've seen a bunch of games blow out. Tatum has upside too. I mean, this dude can get 60, and it's a good spot. So I think you can even play them together. Honestly, Tatum is a really good play at that price.
Yeah. And they verification, like no minutes restriction or anything, like he's full go. So if you're concerned about anything like that, no worries. He's going to play full go, no minutes restriction or anything like that. So next game, we got the Bucks. We got the Heat running it back, man, running it back after last night. I would have liked a run back opportunity in that cornhole match, but Tony made me pay the price immediately and jump into the lake, which I honored. But the Bucks are running it directly back after beating the Heat by like 80 last night. And I mean, this game was done right from the get-go. It was like 27-7 or something in the first quarter. They never looked back. Everyone goes off kind of in that short period except Giannis, who somehow only gets like 30 fantasy points. Title, you talked about it in the opening. It was painful from a fantasy perspective. I was on him as well. And even a lot of times, like, people overrate blowouts on the teams that blow out, because a lot of times those stars or studs, they still get there in their 30 minutes of a blowout game. Not the case with Giannis. He finishes like 9-6-6 and like 2 steals. But it's very rare we get the situation where the teams are just running it straight back in the exact same scenario tonight. I think people are probably going to be scared to go back here because of what happened last night. For me, like, the guys I like last night, I kind of like again today. So I'm not going to let last night's blowout affect how I handle this game. What are you thinking here, Title?
Yeah, I mean, he only had 24 minutes, and I don't expect the Bucks to break more 3-point records. And everyone was literally making every shot, and Giannis isn't a 3-point shooter, so everyone else is making 3 shot too, and he just let everyone else do the work. And I think people are going to be scared to go back to Giannis because he's had a disappointing start to the year. And that just makes me like him even more for tournaments. If I like him yesterday, I'm not just going to be game log watching and have recency bias. We've seen Giannis put up huge numbers in the past for DFS. I am a little worried though, and I am going to monitor it a lot with Jrue Holiday on the Bucks now. He's definitely taking away some stuff from Giannis. I mean, Drew's a very good player. He commands the ball. He wants the ball too and makes others better and makes the right plays. So I am going to watch that, but I'm going to be right back on Giannis today. I'm not sure about cash games. I mean, he's cash playable, but tournaments for sure. If he's going to be lower owned, I'm going right back. Tyler Hero, we got to mention him on both sites. Absolutely smashed yesterday. Jimmy Butler's out again. He's way too cheap, so he makes a ton of sense as well. Goran Dragic, I know a lot of people got burned by him yesterday. Thankfully, I avoided him, so I'm not as mad at him as some people are, but he's still in another great spot. He's only 5,500 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he's way more expensive at 6,900, so I don't like that. But no Jimmy Butler, we're expecting him to play more. We can't predict blowouts. I'm not going to predict that the Bucks are going to beat him by 40 again. So I'm fine going right back to Hero, Dragic, Bam. Even Duncan Robinson, I do have interest in Duncan Robinson because he's a better DraftKings play because of the 3-point bonus. But if they stay in this game, it's probably going to be because he's making his threes. And then Jrue Holiday on the Bucks side. FanDuel, he's very mispriced at 6,400. He's 6,400 on DraftKings too, but he's a stud. He's going to play a lot of minutes if the game's close. He didn't even play a lot of minutes yesterday. He had like 28 and he put up 50 FanDuel points. So I like this game a lot. We liked it yesterday. Now there's only 6 games on the slate, so I'll be right back on it. And I think people are going to be off because of yesterday.
I agree with you about everything you said except Bam. I'm starting to think he's just not very good, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. I just don't think he's all that skilled. I play him. I mean, I played him a ton last year. I played him in the bubble. I'm willing to play. I just don't think he's that good. I don't know.
No, the thing is, I'm with you too, because like, I think he's good for the team, but he just he can't create his own shot. He relies on other people and throwing lobs and all that. But yeah, we've seen his ceiling in the past when he gets rebounds. He can get the double-double. They keep moving his price down slowly but surely. Like, he was 8,000 yesterday, I think. He's 7,600 now.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm not a big Bam guy either, and I don't like rostering him, but he's in play, I think, as much as we don't like him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think he is in play, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just not seeing it with him. I mean, he kind of looks different too this year than he did last year. Didn't really develop the way I thought. So I don't know. Tony, talk about Bam here in this game. Like, obviously massive blowout. Were you on this game at all yesterday?
No, luckily I was off this game. I did play some hero because he was super cheap, and he ended up crushing on FanDuel anyway. So
yeah,
today again he's 4,500 on FanDuel coming off the crush. He's just mispriced. It's one of those cases. This is why I like FanDuel's structure better for basketball than DK. I actually like having them stuck in positions where, like tonight, I just know for a fact I'm playing Tyler Hero at small forward. I only have to play one, whereas DK, he's eligible at a few positions maybe. Every guy's eligible at 2 spots. There's just more moving parts where I just really like because I like locking in on my guys anyways, not just saying Tyler Hero, but say whoever I like. Jokic last night, I lock him in at center and just move on. I like that. Tyler Hero at 4,500, I mean, it's just lock city. He's just they need his creation. They need it. I like him a lot. Bam, I mean, I'm a little higher on him than you guys just because he does feel cheap. How much? He's 8,200 on
82.
I wish he was
76.
He's 70. Yeah, 76 on DK.
Yeah.
82 on. I wish he was power forward on. If he was power forward on FanDuel, I would for sure play him because I don't like power forward that much. Center is tough to play him tonight on FanDuel because Nurkic looks really good, who we'll get to, and then Thies is, I mean, super cheap too on there, even though I don't like him. It's tough to play Bam over those guys. But the rest of the team, like, I'm never playing Duncan Robinson. Like, if he hits 8 threes to beat me, I'm good with it. I'm just not a Duncan Robinson guy. Iggy, I know a lot of people were playing Iggy yesterday. How can you freaking play Iggy? I don't understand.
And especially on a 10-game slate, like on a smaller slate, okay, maybe he's more in the conversation. But I mean, we had games, we had options yesterday. Like,
what is his like true upside though? Like, what could he do to like where you'd be happy?
I don't know. I mean,
like 23, like tops. Like if he really plays good,
it'd have to be a very, very small slate before I'm considering playing Iguodala, or obviously a ton of injuries. And
wouldn't you rather just play like any young guy, like on any team that's cheaper that maybe could hit a ceiling? Iggy, like no matter what happens, he's not going to hit a ceiling unless he gets 5 steals or something. He falls into a bunch of steals type thing. He has 0 usage. He can't shoot. I don't understand why people were playing him yesterday, and I didn't understand it. But just to look at the other side, I mean, Milwaukee, it's tough fantasy wise because I want to play pieces in the Atlanta-Brooklyn game. Giannis I know yesterday they just blew him out, so we only got 30, but he hasn't done it so far. I have a hard time playing him. Like, I don't know. Like I said yesterday on the show, I'm not against Giannis DFS wise. He's a great play. I just don't think this is a good slate for him. We have other stars that are in better spots. I think Miami plays better tonight too. I don't know. I'm not playing Giannis on this slate, not playing Middleton. Drew on FanDuel is obviously a really good play. 6,400 is too cheap. DK, though, he's priced normal. Or is he 64 on DK too?
He is 64 on both.
So for some reason I was thinking he was higher on DK. So he's definitely in play on both sides without a doubt. And I know a lot of people are going to go back to Dragic. I know JSU and some people liked him yesterday. He didn't really play. I just don't really play guards against Drew Holiday, and he's going to guard Dragic when he's in there, I think. I don't hate it because, like we said yesterday, Dragic and Hero are really the only creators for him. So maybe you hit a ceiling spot where he gets it going. But I don't want to make a habit out of picking on Drew Holiday on defense. He's one of the best defenders in basketball. I just don't need to do it. So if you play Dragic, that's fine. He's cheap. But I don't think you need it. I'll just play Hero instead.
Yeah, and, the one thing about this game that we said, I mean, obviously yesterday was a massive, massive blowout, and, most of these guys busted. But you can't bank on blowouts in the NBA, especially back-to-back. The spread is only 6. Like, it's only a 6-point spread. I expect Miami to play much, much better today. I think this game should be competitive from start to finish. Miami's not a lay down type team.
Yesterday was in Milwaukee, right?
No, Miami.
They're both in Miami, both games.
Yeah.
I was wondering that because for some reason I thought it was. Then I was like, why are they flying back and forth? So now it makes sense. So just back to back in Miami.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably more of this stuff, for other teams. It's probably just the way they structure it. Yeah, exactly. With what's everything going on, it's just smart to bust out 2 games just like that. But all right, we're gonna head on.
Well, I just want to say, if you play Giannis in tournaments, you need at least 2 Heat and maybe even 3 Heat players, because the only way Giannis gets there is him getting a full complement of minutes in a close game, and that means someone on the Heat's keeping it close. So I don't think you can just play Giannis and then just Hero running it back, who will be chalk. You're going to need either Duncan Robinson, Dragic, Bam, other guys that are going to have to do something to keep it close. So that's important to note.
I think that's the best point you can make. Like, if I played this game, I'm probably stacking it. And I think the stack fits good too, honestly. I would go to Dragic if I was going with this method. Dragic, Hero, Bam, and then Giannis with maybe even Drew Holiday. You got a nice little 3-2 stack. I don't love those pieces individually, but if this game stays close, all of those guys could smash. So I do like that.
And OT, that's the thing. Like, stacking isn't really big in NBA, but if it hits OT, when you do stack and you get that one game that goes to OT or double OT, you're shipping. I remember you, Big T, like 2 years ago.
It's happened to me once a year, I think, the last couple of years. When it happens and you do have the stack, you just feel like so good.
Oh, it's literally, I would say it's the best feeling in DFS because
it's so good.
It's unlike the other sports that go to OT. Like, you can have guys OT in NFL, and if
they
you have a receiver, they don't get anything. The other team scores right. In NBA, you have guys in OT, like, they're doing something, and it feels good.
Nice.
And those feels so good. Just massive. Like, if you can add, just say we played that 5-man stack and they all get an extra 5 minutes. Yeah. The edge is just literally off the charts with an extra 5 minutes.
But also, OT is pretty rare, and don't build teams banking on the game going to OT. It is not common.
And you just talked about the positives. How bad is it though when you fade a game and it goes OT? It's pure misery.
Yeah, it goes both ways for sure. After us, we have JSU and Holden taking you guys up to lock on the final countdown. That is a premium show, so you have to head over to Run Pure Sports and become a member. We have all one price fits all type plan going, where you get everything on the site for one price. If you want DFS, it's only $80. If you want DFS and the bet side, it's $100. So head on over to Run Pure Sports and check us out. And like I said, JSU and Holden taking you to lock. That is a premium show for members only. All right, next game.
That show too, like, for those of you that haven't seen that show, we'll make it free here like once a week or once in a while so you can see it. But it's literally like, I couldn't imagine a better show going up to lock. They're talking about the news as it breaks. JSU's giving, the dude has hit 10 plus 100K hits in the last year, it feels like. He just gives you such good tournament takes that there's no reason not to get on there and watch that show. I watch it myself. You just get on some good stuff. You pull up the cash game chart while you're listening to JSU talk. You got Hoop, you got Title, you got Mangone, you got everything in there. You got AP's playbook. Use the product. For the amount of money you're paying, one night is going to pay off the freaking product. Listen in one ear and then look at all the content on the site. You're gonna be in good shape.
Yeah. We really like where our product's at, continuing to improve it. This new sheet that we kind of came up with, I think, is kind of a game changer. Just makes it very easy to build teams. So, head on over to Run Pure Sports and check it all out. Title.
The biggest thing is Discord. Like yesterday, got to give shout out to Mangone. He was in Discord. He tagged everyone when the OKC starters were announced and Roby was starting over Muscala, and he's like, I'm pivoting to Roby over Muscala. Yeah. JT and other subscribers listen, and JT hit for 30,000 yesterday with that pivot. So shout out to Mangone for that nice call. Shout out to JT, and helped a lot of subscribers make money too. So that's the biggest thing. I think everything's good at. I love the core plays, the shows and all that, but the Discord is just the next level that you can't really find anywhere else.
Absolutely. It's such a huge thing. Very active Discord too. Tons of people in there chatting about sports, every sport all day long, bets, everything in there. So if you are a member and you're not in the Discord, definitely get in there and check it out. So we got the big news in this next game that LMA is going to be out. Lamarcus Aldridge out for the Spurs. The total in this game is 228. Lakers favored by 6. Lakers, I guess, LeBron is technically questionable, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think he plays. I mean, if he doesn't play, obviously big boost to some of these other guys. But I mean, Lakers are a tough team for DFS when everyone's out there. I mean, there's just not enough to go around. You have Anthony Davis, LeBron, Harrell's high usage, Kuzma, Schroeder's doing a ton out there. So they are a tough team for DFS when everyone's out there. On the Spurs side, like we said, Lamarcus Aldridge is out, and these guys, they're all priced way, way better on DK than on FanDuel. On DK, DeJounte Murray 6.1K, DeMar DeRozan 6.9K. DeMar DeRozan on FanDuel is 8.5K, so massive difference. I mean, the one guy I think that gets the biggest boost is going to be Jakob Poeltl. He is 4.1K on DK, and I believe he is 4.2 on FanDuel. I mean, they're running this smaller type lineup, so there's not a ton to go around for the bigs, but everyone obviously gets a boost here. Poeltl for me gets the biggest boost, but overall I think these guys more in play on DK opposed to FanDuel. Tony, how are you handling this Lamarcus Aldridge news?
God, so you just talked about Poeltl, and he's like the version of Thies on this team. I do like him a little more than Thies.
I think he has more upside.
We've at least seen games in the 30s in the past where he's definitely crushed. I mean, both of these guys are super cheap tonight. He has to be able to pay off this small tag. And the good thing about this matchup is the Lakers want to play pretty big too. Like, AD does not want to play the 5. He's flat out said it. Even in the playoffs when the games matter, sure, sometimes they do it because they just need to do it, but it's not because he wants to do it. He does not want to play the 5. So during a regular season game in December, he's not going to play the 5 unless it's the last couple of minutes of the game or something. So, with Dusty Marc Gasol, by the way, I think it was a football day. How the hell did Marc Gasol get 40 fantasy points one game? Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
No,
I saw it. I mean, he's
literally
like, he was getting the ball at the top of the key and like they're back cutting and just getting layups. I mean, he's literally dropping dimes. He had a bunch of blocks. I did see it.
I mean, it was a legitimate 40 fantasy point game from Marc Gasol. I didn't think I'd ever see that again. It was incredible. But tonight, Poeltl, it makes a lot of sense tonight. I'm glad that this value popped up because I didn't want to play Thies, and Poeltl's just a solid play. I think his floor is somewhere around 4 or 5x, and then you do have a little bit of a ceiling against the Lakers too. So like that, I mean, guys like Keldon Johnson have looked really good. Even though his price is higher and he's going to look too expensive to you, I think he's just good. Like, he's just a good player. So he might be priced where he should be. And honestly, with even a little bit out like Lamarcus Aldridge, it has to boost him just a little bit. And then you got the obvious guys, DeJounte and DeRozan are good plays, especially DeJounte. I mean, he's gonna have a big game in this one, I think. I think he's a super sneaky tournament play. He's not going to be high owned either with the way
the price is good. I mean, that DK price does kind of stand out at 6.1K.
Yeah. I mean, it's too cheap. It looks like a really good price point for sure. So I definitely like the Spurs. They play faster than people want to give them credit too. Mm-hmm. They're in a good spot tonight, and I think this game will go lower owned than it should. It's another game that you could stack up a little bit and not feel too crazy about it. Play 3 Spurs, run it back with LeBron or AD or even Marc Gasol. Like, no one's going to play him. He looked good. I mean, he just had a 40-point game. Who knows? I don't like it. I mean, it's just a true pivot off the 2 value guys. So who knows?
Any Lakers stand out to you?
No, I mean, I just don't play LeBron. And it's the same reason I talked about with Giannis. I just don't play him. I can't play LeBron or AD when they're both in there. If one's out, that's a different story. I could easily get on one of them then. When they're both in there, though, how can I play them over Trae Young, Kyrie, Tatum, all those guys for cheaper? I just can't do it. So it's just we'll do this show Monday through Friday all year, and I'm pretty sure you're never going to hear me say to play those guys outside of rare big games.
Yeah, and later on in the season, if they're kind of playing for positioning or something, it's going to be tough sledding for the Lakers this season if there's not an injury or big name out. Title Town, throw it to you. How are you handling this LMA news? And do you have any different opinion on the Lakers side of things?
Yeah, you guys pretty much hit it how I feel. Jakob Poeltl gets the biggest boost on both sides. He's just way too cheap. Great matchup, meaning they're going to need his size. And so Lakers aren't going to go small and just take Jakob Poeltl out of the game. They're going to need his size with Montrezl Harrell stuff too. So great play. DraftKings, like you said, their prices are more affordable. DeRozan, 6.9K. DeJounte Murray, 6.1K. I like Lonnie Walker at 4.4K too. I think he goes very overlooked. He's an athletic guy off the bench in the second unit that will garner usage. So I think he makes for a good tourney play that's going to probably be like 5-6% owned with upside on a 6-game slate. So I like that. And then Lakers, yeah, they're a complete fade for me. They're all priced right. And this is expecting LeBron to be in. If he gets ruled out, obviously, and you have your spots open, yeah, I mean, obviously Anthony Davis, Schroeder, you name it, they're going to be good plays, but we're expecting him to be in, and I can't pull the trigger on any of the Lakers with other stars on the slate.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, a pretty clear-cut game for me. So we'll head to the next one. We have the Hornets.
Title had a good call. Hold on one sec. Title had a good call on Lonnie Walker. I hadn't looked super close at him, but last game, 34 minutes, 14 shots. The game before, 25 minutes, 14 shots. The game before, 34 minutes, again, only 9 shots. But very, very solid production for a guy that's 4,400 on DK. And unlike some of these other guys, he's actually somewhat skilled to be
good.
Able to have. Mm-hmm. He can have a ceiling spot here. I forget what the call was yesterday that you opened my eyes to some guy.
Bagley, it was,
Bagley, and we got unlucky with no fourth quarter run in that spot.
Yeah. That was brutal. He had 18 real points. He was dominating, and he hardly got any set. Back in. Brutal.
But I like this Lonnie Walker call a ton, and he could end up in my cores. How much I like that call.
Yeah, that's a good one, and not like popping anywhere in terms of projections. I mean, you always can tell when people are going to be popular if you go to a projection site and they're ranked way up there. I'm not seeing them anywhere, so that is a good indicator that his ownership should be relatively low. So maybe hey, is that the Title Town workbench play of the day right there? I mean, we still have 2 more games.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I've liked him all day, and on DraftKings, that is. Can't make a case on FanDuel, but that's mine.
All right, so you're clear now. We just need Tony, so Tony can start thinking. Couple more games here before we head to the next one. Make sure once again to hit the like, hit the subscribe. We just got over the 200. We have 560 watching. If somehow we can get to 300, we'll give out another piece of gear. But keep hitting that like button for sure. We have a deal going right now with Monkey Knife Fight. If you go on their website and sign up and use the code RUNPEER, it's a $50 match that they'll give you. And in addition to that, we have our Discord channel dedicated to Monkey Knife Fight, where people are giving winners all throughout the day, interacting, talking about plays that they have interest in. It's done pretty well. I mean, people have done really well on Monkey Knife Fight, the subscribers. So make sure to head on over to Monkey Knife Fight, use that promo code RUNPEER to get a $50 match on your deposit. Next game is the Hornets and the Mavericks. The total is 225. Dallas is favored by 8. This game is obviously you have Luka, so we know Luka is a very strong play. He's clearly in the conversation tonight. Any slate that he's on, he's definitely got to consider. On the Hornets side, they have a lot of dudes. And, Biyombo has kind of stepped up at center, playing pretty well. You have PJ Washington there. Throw it to you first, Title. Kind of what stands out to you in this game here?
Yeah, so this was in Discord this morning. PJ Washington's name just sparked a huge conversation. We had some JSU likes him, DC loves him, AP and we like him, but they were hyping him up 35 fantasy points, 40 fantasy points. So I'm not as high on him as people are, but I just wanted to bring that up because it was funny this morning.
I mean, he had back-to-back big games. I mean, 37 and 40 fantasy points. So I mean, he's been playing well.
Yeah, he's in play for sure. People are high on him, and I'm not expecting crazy ownership too. So 5,400 on DraftKings, he does make sense. Trey Burke, I like him a little bit at 3,200. I think he stands out on DraftKings as value. I know Richardson's in, so he takes a little bump down, but I like Grayson Allen starting now. I saw, so he'll probably be will be a lot more chalky than Burke, but Burke's a good pivot for the same price. Luka, obviously, both sites, 10-7 on DraftKings. He's 11-4 on FanDuel, but point guard's not as good on FanDuel, so he still makes sense just getting up and getting your raw points. No one can guard him on Charlotte. Like, he should have his way whenever he wants it, get his buckets whenever, and we haven't seen his ceiling yet, so I definitely like him. Devontae Graham actually is the other one. FanDuel especially, shooting guard eligible, 5,900. He stands out as well. He's I know Rozier had that big game, the first game of the year, but it's still Devontae Graham's backcourt. He's the lot better player. He's a very good basketball player. He gets more usage, so I like him as well. And you can make a case for him in tournaments on DraftKings as well.
Very steady. I mean, so you're looking 37 minutes, 34 minutes, 35 minutes, and he's been over 30 fantasy points every game. Just a very steady producer. And has the upside too. It's not like the Daniel Tice guy we're talking about where, you're hoping he gets 25. Graham has a nice floor and ceiling, so I really like that Graham call. Anything else for you in this game?
Sorry, I was looking at chat.
No, sorry.
No, the thing that I liked a little bit before was like Kleber or Dwight Powell a little bit and stuff, but that's just now with Jakob Poeltl, like that was just a low before that. Now there's so many good plays that I don't think you really need it. There's other spots like Atlanta and the Nets that we like more. I like the Bucks game more than others do. So I'm just not going to really have too much, just a one-off or something.
Cool. All right, Tony, anything stand out to you in this game? Any PJ Washington back-to-back big games? Luka, are you spending up on him tonight? What are you thinking here for Charlotte, Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, I had everyone on fire earlier when I gave the take that I just don't think Luka looks very good this year. He looks out of shape. He looks slow. He just looks terrible to me out of the gate. I don't know if it's because he just didn't do anything in the month or two they had off, but he doesn't look right to me. So I'm not paying that price under any circumstance on a slate like this.
Is he projected to be relatively high owned tonight? I'm assuming. I mean, there's only two studs.
On FanDuel, really. You would think he has to be a little bit just because of the value, but I don't know about DK. He might not be super crazy owned.
Yeah. I think he'll still get some ownership. 10-7. He still has his triple-double upside, and this is who can guard him on Charlotte. I think people are really gonna like. I feel like I
think anyone can guard him. He looks so slow. This is people got to understand what I'm saying. I'm more of a tournament player. I'm more of watch the games than numbers. Just flat out watching the games, he just hasn't looked right to me. And I hope he's chalk because there's no way I would play him on this slate. And if he's 30-something% owned, which he usually ends up pretty high owned, I'm sure he'll be somewhere in there. That's good for me. So I like it as a tournament player because he just doesn't look right to me. And the projections are always going to like him. NBA is a projection sport. A lot of people just go with the projections, which is fine. And again, you need to be somewhat in between, I think. Not just all projections, not just all feel. I try to do it myself. I just don't like Luka, so I think it's a good fade. And I don't like Dallas for that matter. Charlotte, it's interesting. Like Title said, I mean, PJ Washington, 2 monster games. Dallas just doesn't have any bigs either. So
yeah.
It's an interesting spot. His price does look a little high on the surface. So he's not going to – the projection people are not going to like PJ Washington because his projection doesn't pop. But if you've watched him, he's looked really good, and Dallas is a good matchup for him. So I think he's a really good tournament play. It's a perfect example of how you can use our cash sheet to build a team you like, and maybe you pivot. Like he's 5,400 on DraftKings. Maybe you pivot off someone in that range. I don't know who's chalky in that range. Bobby Covington or something. Pivot off a chalkier guy and play a PJ Washington who can't be that high owned. And I like it. And Devontae Graham, like you guys said too, super consistent, also has upside. I like Devontae Graham a lot. He should be more expensive. He's just he looks too cheap for the consistency and the upside he brings you.
That FanDuel price tag is real nice, 5.9K. I think he's a strong play there. One guy that has a nicer price tag on DK versus is FanDuel is Gordon Hayward. Capable of stuffing the stat sheet. Tony, any interest in Hayward?
I can't do it at 7,200. Yeah. I mean, I honestly feel he should be. We always talk about it with basketball. I mean, if a guy looks underpriced, you're probably going to want to play him. If he looks overpriced, you're probably not. He just feels overpriced to me. 7,200. Yeah. I think he gets you mid-30s, so it just depends on what you want. Like, if I'm playing a 7,200 guy, I want at least the option of getting in the mid-40s. I don't think he really gives you that, so I'm off of Hayward.
And the thing is, like I was talking earlier about LeVert on DraftKings, 6,900. I think he is, and he's going to be like 5% owned. Gordon Hayward's going to be like 20% owned or something way more chalky, and that's just an easy pivot right there with someone that we've seen. I mean, yeah, Hayward's fine. He's going to probably, I don't know. He's grading out better. More people are on him, but I'd rather play LeVert in tournaments who we know what he can do. He's a hooper, second unit. He's going to smash, and he'll be like 1/4, 1/5 of the ownership. So that's the tournament talk that Big T and JSU have taught me to think like, and I like it.
It's a great pivot too. Like LeVert could go off. Like I like it. I mean, definitely Hayward is a safer play without a doubt. Yeah. That as everyone watches these shows as we go through the year, I think people will get more comfortable with what we're saying. I mean, we're not saying to not play Hayward if you want safety. It's just I don't know. And people will look at the game logs and they'll be like, he's got a 49 and a 48 or whatever. I understand that, but they were against Brooklyn and I can't remember who the other game, Cleveland or somebody, where those are good matchups for offense. So, I mean, I don't like Hayward as much.
Yeah, I'm a little higher on him. I like the price tag on DK, and I think his game kind of.
You think 7,200 is a good price?
I actually like it a little bit.
He's definitely a better cat. Like he's cash playable for sure. Like he's grading out pretty well in tournaments though. That's when I'm with you. Like cash play, it's Hayward. Tournaments, I don't know. That's me though.
I don't know. I think he like has upside. Like he's doing everything. Like he rebounding, assists. He can hit threes. Like I think he's. I don't know. I think he's a good DK type play. Even tonight, I don't know. We'll see.
No, because he's in his new spot too. So we haven't seen. Yeah, we a couple of games, and he's shown that he's one of their big guys. So you're right. I think the industry agreed. Like, he's a good cash play. So he's a good play today.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I could play Hayward over DeMar DeRozan or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, DeMar's price is very nice on DK. 6.9K price tag I do like quite a bit, but on FanDuel he's 8.5K, so there's a pretty big difference there. But I agree with you. Like, that's a big boy price tag in a pretty tough matchup. But he's been good, man. DeRozan has been good this year for sure. All right, last game, Trailblazers, Clippers, total 226. Clippers favored by 4, and I mean it all kind of comes down to whether or not Kawhi Leonard plays. Like if Kawhi Leonard plays, not much interest in the Clippers. If Kawhi Leonard is out, a ton of interest in the Clippers, and honestly more interest in the Trailblazers as well. I mean, you got 3 or 4 Clippers that get big boosts if Kawhi's out. Game more likely to stay competitive if he's out. Easier matchup for the Trailblazers guys if he's out. It all comes down to it. I mean, the problem is it's the last game on the slate, and it's the only game at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're kind of building lineups, based on Kawhi being in or out, you could potentially be screwed. It's pretty tough. I kind of lean that he's going to be out. They played well last night. Their starters got very limited minutes. I think they let him rest one more game. Could be wrong. We'll see, but I'm kind of leaning towards him being out. Title, do you have any sort of lean on Kawhi, and how are you handling this game overall?
I'm not even going to try and take a lean. My lean yesterday was wrong. So you lean he's going to be out. Yeah, I have no clue. But like you said, it's so hard today because the game's so much later. Like we expect all the other games to probably be locked before we get that news. So if it's obviously this is tournaments, but if you're doing it, I think you just backload that game, backload your lineup and leave like multiple spots open. And then either way, you have flexibility with whatever you can do. And I mean, yeah, you game stack that game and it goes to OT or double OT or something, and you're not planning for it to do that, but you're doing it for the Kawhi news, and you get lucky and you ship late night. There's nothing better as a late night hammer. All games are done except your whole lineup, and you just keep shooting up the rankings. So it makes sense.
Tony, any lean on the Kawhi thing, and how are you handling this game?
I mean, I could pretend like I have a lean. If I had to like for sure guess, I'd say he's out because, I mean, I watched it close that night. He was gushing blood on the floor. They're just not going to force these guys, these studs this year. With the Clippers, it doesn't matter what seed they get. They're a veteran team. Yeah, they choked in the bubble last year, but they're still definitely title contenders. They're not going to force Kawhi in there if there's even remotely anything wrong with them. I don't think he plays, but it's probably 50-50. If he feels good, he'll play. If not, he won't. Either way, I mean, you almost have to back into a few guys in this game and just kind of wait for it. Like I said yesterday, if you're playing 3 teams or something, have one team where you back in like 4 or 5 spots, and you have a lot of options in this game. If he plays, it's not as good, but you still got options. I mean,
there's still guys. These guys are still playable if he plays. That's why it's not the worst spot to kind of backload and keep a few spots. You have, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 like
at least
viable fantasy options, guys that you can play. I mean, obviously if Kawhi's out, they're better plays, but if Kawhi's in, they're not the worst plays in the world.
And it's just so good right now. And with the ways that the games have been going with blowouts and everything, you just never know when you're going to fall into the nuts. Like, say KD gets hurt, or who knows what can happen. Foul trouble, a blowout. So many things happen in NBA DFS. If a lot of weird stuff happens early and you're sitting on all this news and then Kawhi's out on top of it, you could literally be just sitting perfectly on one of your 3 teams. And this game's good anyways. I mean, it's a low spread. It's a high total. Yeah. It's going to be pretty low owned. It's got my workbench play in it. Ooh. I mean, I've already thought ahead, and it's a great workbench play. It's not a force like yesterday.
All right.
I mean, it feels good to be planning ahead for the bench.
I think I know the workbench play. I'm not going to ruin it for the people. Title, any plays for you in this game?
Yeah, so this game's loaded. Right away, Paul George stands out on both sides, especially on FanDuel. He's just way too cheap, 7,600. And that's even expecting like Kawhi's in. It feels a little cheap. Add that Kawhi being out maybe, and then he just becomes like an automatic lock. So good play on both sides for sure. Derrick Jones is too cheap on both sides, 3,700 on FanDuel, 3,600 on DraftKings. Been playing over 30 minutes. Just a very athletic guy that he makes plays all around. His block on LeBron, I don't know if you guys saw it a couple of nights ago, but man, that was nice. He's all
like
around
2 of them.
One, I remember one, the whistle blew or something before that he got. But
LeBron noticed it though, even if there was a whistle.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, you notice him on the court, that's for sure. This guy can fly. Yusuf Nurkic on both sides too seems too cheap. I've been rostering him so much, and I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think. Would you guys have a lean on like what he's gonna be this year? Is because he hasn't just done much when he's out there, and Cantor got hot.
Cantor's looked better. I mean, Cantor off the bench has definitely looked better, and there's definitely some concern. But that price keeps dropping. I mean, it keeps dropping. I've played him, and I'll probably continue to play him. But it's not a comfortable feeling with Nurkic, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. His price just makes me want to keep playing him. But yeah, I mean, he's a good play for sure. He's definitely unplayable on both sides. It is a little worrisome, and it's another spot I'm monitoring and how he's gonna do in this offense. Robert Covington seems too cheap, especially on DraftKings, but FanDuel too, 5,200 at a bad power forward position makes a ton of sense. Should play over 30 minutes. And then we got to mention it, Damian Lillard. I know his price is very, very steep. Other people are going to look at Luka and look at Kyrie and all that, but we know Dame's narrative with Paul George, and I don't buy into too many narratives, but I think Dame and Paul George definitely have beef, and Dame loves to show up in games like this. Yeah. He's one of those guys where he has a little extra motivation. I think will take some more shots, and when Dame gets cooking, I mean, he's not passing the ball. He's chucking. So he definitely makes for a good tournament play in a game stack. Like I like in tournaments, especially on DraftKings. I'm going to probably my main tournament teams are going to just backload this game because Kawhi too, 9,300. If he plays, like I like him, he'll be what 2% owned and 9,300. So yeah, I mean, I love just backloading your lineup and waiting for the news to break, and you just have so many routes to go. So that's, I know it's a free show. I'm not going to give my core plays out that'll be on the site, but I like this game for sure.
Yeah, it's a very appealing game. I really like it. Title, find us the chat winner, the person that's going to win the gear while Tony talks about this last game, and then Tony talk about the game and wrap it up with the workbench play. Don't wrap it up, but the workbench play of the night.
So first of all, just on the Clippers side, I mean, you just don't know what to do. That's why Title's saying to back end it, because honestly, like it matters if Kawhi plays or not. Because if he's out, I mean, Paul George and Sweet Lou, become borderline locks to me. I mean, Sweet Lou, I don't have the FanDuel pricing up, but he's super cheap.
4.6. Yeah, and he crushed, and he only played 20 minutes.
Crushed. For some reason, we talked about this a little earlier with some of the guys. Like, he doesn't seem to be a favorite of the coaching staff, which worries me a little bit. But if Kawhi is out, you only need 20 minutes. I mean, if you get more than that, you're just spoiling yourself. So I like him only if Kawhi is out. I mean, Paul George, obviously. If Kawhi is out, you're going to want – last night I was so freaking tilted that I didn't have enough spots left because I had Jokic, who obviously is a center, and maybe one other spot. But Paul George is only active or eligible at guard on DK, which just really shafted me. So I couldn't get much Paul George. Luckily, it blew out and he didn't go off. But I really wanted him. And tonight, I mean, I want to be able to get exposure. So I don't want to handcuff myself on all my teams. Kind of like Title said, where you leave enough spots. I'm thinking 3 spots at least in this last game where you can maneuver a little bit. And you can even start with some of the expensive guys like Dame and whoever. Put a few expensive in there because there's plenty of guys that you can play in this. Even CJ McCollum has been really good. I mean,
yeah, he's been good.
He's never going to be owned either. So there's just lots of ways you can go, no matter which way the news hits. Say Kawhi's in. We don't want that. But you can still play a lot of guys that have a chance to crush in this game. It's not going to hurt you. So definitely go that way. The Portland side, Dame, you can always play. I do feel like he's too expensive. I mean, you got Dame and CJ. CJ's been basically as good as Dame, and he's, $2,100 cheaper. I have a hard time playing Dame, but he's always a good tournament play because he can go off, obviously. So I don't hate that. You got Bobby Covington always in play at a cheap price. I worry a little bit about these guys with Melo getting more and more. How many games is Melo missed one game or what?
I think it was just one.
Just one?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean he's not going to play big minutes, but I worry a little bit about Melo stealing something from guys like Derek Jones, but he's cheap. So like Title said, he's so super athletic, fits the build, owned LeBron with a few nasty blocks like I'm going to give Title in the basketball game. And now to my workbench play, though, Title was getting worried about him, but Mr. Nurkic, baby, he's going to go off tonight. 6,700. You look at his matchups at the Lakers, who is a tough matchup on bigs. Houston, he went for 37, which is a good matchup, obviously. And then Utah with Gobert is a tough matchup. So he's had a tough run out of the gate. Tonight is a dream matchup. The Clippers have no bigs. The dude is gonna freaking eat, and it's the first time I felt really good about a workbench play in the NBA so far. It's not gonna be super chalky. He'll be owned, but nothing crazy. Like I didn't feel good about Jokic yet. That was too easy. Nurkic is a much better workbench play. All my teams, sign me up, boys.
Love it. I've been playing him. I potentially will be on him tonight. I mean, I like that call. I really do. We're getting the boot, though. We have final countdown coming up. Title, did you find a winner for the gear?
I did. I mean, right when you say I'm doing it, people start stroking me, go pack, go, make the right, all this stuff. But hey, one comment to the rest stood out. Jimmy B, He said, can't wait for MMA to return.
Oh,
LFG. Let's fucking go.
That's how he found his way into your heart.
Yeah,
That's how
he found his way to Title's heart. I got some inside info.
I love the Packers. I love everything else, but MMA, that's in my heart. I can't wait either. So.
All right, so shoot Tony a message or info@Rumpier Sports. Like I said, we have final countdown coming up. We got to get on out of here. Head on over to Rumpier Sports to check that out. For Title, for Big T, I'm Hoop. Good luck to everyone in your contest tonight.